pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
No. You must have forgot. Good morning. Moines County Board of Supervisors, September 14th, 2021. Are there any changes? Tentative agenda.
I have none.
I need to move C back to next week. We're still working on getting contractor signature on that, so.
Those contractors can be tough to deal with.
Yeah, I'll leave no comment, but.
Basically, construction, you know, direction guy.
The steel guys, the old steel guys are the worst, but, so no.
The old white guys?
Steel guys.
Steel guys. So, anyway, no, if you could move it, we'll move that back to next Tuesday, and by then I'll have the document and we'll run it through you guys. So, thank you.
Thanks, Brian. Okay, we have an agenda. Meet with department heads and elected officials. Sarah Doty, Moines County Auditor Deputy.
Okay, so all the city candidates have until 5 p.m. Thursday the 16th to file with us. Schools will file with the school secretary.
When's the date on that, though? That's
The 5th, October 5th.
October 5th?
Yes.
Okay.
The primary is, the city school is November 2nd.
Thank you.
City of Burlington primary, the 15th is when the in-person voting begins, and then all ballots have to be in, let me see here. Or it's the first day they can mail the ballots too, so. Terry just wanted me to remind everybody of that as well.
Thank you, Sarah.
You're welcome.
Colin Gerst, IT.
Just keep busy in the office like always, but nothing new.
Jared Lasser, Land Use.
Nothing really much of note to report. Had a couple of floodplain permits lately, but apart from that, not a whole lot in the way of new business. In terms of subdivisions, we don't have any others out for review right now, though we may have some fairly soon. But we have one on the agenda for today, so that's all I have.
Thank you, Jared. Della Schmidt, Greater Burlington Partnership. You have an agenda item. I didn't know whether there's anything else you'd like to address or not.
No, sir, I'll wait for my agenda item.
Okay. Lisa Schaefer, Des Moines County Attorney.
Just staying busy with COVID catch-up.
How's the COVID mustard going? I'm sorry.
I recognize that look that you just gave me to Della. I just went to, cameras on you.
Moving on, Natalie Steffner, Des Moines County Recorder.
Good morning. Nothing new to report, just business as usual.
Thank you, Natalie. Brian Carter, Secondary Roads.
Good morning. Flint Bottom is proceeding. Sounds like maybe some concrete next week. They're trimming this week, so good headway there. Still ditching up on Irish, still pinching various gravel roads. So we'll do a couple more of that this week. And we still got a couple concrete projects that are hanging out there. I don't have specific start dates. I do know that Pleasant Grove, they mentioned that they're gonna push it back a week. Obviously, it didn't close on the 13th, so they're looking at next week, but I don't think I'd write that in ink yet from what I can see. So we were trying to get a hold of them and they hadn't returned any calls the last couple of days, so time will tell. And same thing on Geo, we haven't heard from them about the time frame on that yet. So other than that, there's a lot of stuff going on and guys are getting a lot of stuff done with this dry weather.
Thank you, Brian. Krista Poglemiller, Public Health.
Good morning. We continue to be busy. Our COVID positivity rate hasn't changed since last week. They haven't updated the website yet, so we're still at 16% for the last 7 days. And we're at 15% for the last 14 days. We've got 142 positive cases, and Again, that percentage is based on the number of people that test. So that's, if we have fewer people test and more of them test positive, then that brings up that percentage. We have seen the largest amount of positivity is between the 0 to 17-year-old. They're at 31% of that positivity rate. So again, really encouraging people to stay home when they're sick. And if they get the opportunity to get the vaccine, we have 2 drive-throughs or 2 vaccines this week, vaccine clinics this week. Today is a drive-through at Southeastern Community College from 12 to 6. No appointments are necessary. We'll have Moderna, Pfizer, and Johnson & Johnson. And then again, tomorrow, we will have it at the Edgewater Grill at Catfish Bend Casino from 12 to 6. Again, we'll have all those vaccines available, as well as there's no appointment necessary for that clinic either. Open to the public.
Thank you, Krista.
Thank you.
Rodney Buisner, Maintenance.
Good morning, just keeping busy. We were scheduled to do the generator changeover today, but Alliance sent a crew down to Louisiana to help, so.
Your guys?
No, the
The
Alliance
crew was
guys.
coming to you.
Yeah, I don't know if they sent multiple crews or a big crew or what they did, but they sent a crew down to Louisiana, so it's kind of pushed our project back at least another week, so they're planning on it next week, so. We'll get there one of these days. Just kind of working around everybody's schedule. Other than that, just have an agenda item, nothing new to report.
Thank you, Rodney. Brett Grimshaw, Chief Deputy, Des Moines County Sheriff's Office.
Good morning. We are busy at the sheriff's office, as usual, but nothing for the board today.
Gina Harden.
Good morning.
Emergency Management.
I have my CERT team that is helping out Krista with her clinics out at SCC, and that seems to be going really well from that new location, so my hat's off to you. I also wanted to thank Colin for his help with the cybersecurity assessment that our insurance company requested a couple weeks ago, so he was instrumental in helping us get that report done and submitted, so again, thank you to him. And then lastly, this weekend, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, we are doing some training with BNSF and also Amtrak. In the morning, we're doing the classroom training at the Burlington Fire Department. Then in the afternoon, we'll be out in West Burlington between Shears and Blackhawk Services Corporation, which is formerly Baker's Pride. So basically at the north end of Broadway. BNSF was able to get us, be able to use the tracks there for the rail cars. So we'll have emergency responders out there and participating in some training. On Saturday, we'll be actually transporting victims to the hospital so they can test their emergency plan. And then Monday specifically, we're gonna be working with the hazmat technician level responders for, specifically on Monday. So it's gonna be a busy weekend.
Probably draw a crowd out there, wondering what's going on.
Well, we're gonna have, some of my CERT volunteers there at the stop sign to not let the public back, so, trying to keep people back and safe and et cetera. Because if you're on the railroad tracks, you have to have certain safety gear and et cetera. But it should be good.
You guys will probably get phone calls. Just.
Hopefully not,
Just
but
kidding.
you know. But you never know, so, yeah, should be good.
Thank you, Gina.
Yep.
Angie Bond, Safety.
Good morning. I really don't have anything. Everything's going well. We're keeping busy, but it's going pretty good.
Good. We got anybody? Didn't miss anybody? Okay. Correspondence. Either of you gentlemen have any correspondence?
Well, I did, but, yeah, I'll deal with mine later.
Okay, we will proceed to discussion and vote. We have the Greater Burlington Convention and Visitors Bureau request for American Rescue Plan Act funds to support tourism economic reform efforts. That would be Della.
Good morning, Commissioners. Thank you for placing me on the agenda. Little side note, we have hired a new executive director for the Convention and Visitors Bureau. His name is Michael Deere, and he's actually away at a tourism conference this week, getting training and all up to speed, but we'll have him back in front of you soon. So I'm pleased with that hire. I know you folks will look forward to working with him. But he is inheriting a big challenge. Chelsea DeRoot, as you know, has been a fantastic leader of the Convention and Visitors Bureau for a number of years. But this COVID pandemic has affected tourism in ways that are unique as compared to other industries. When I was here with you last, we heard about healthcare, and there was some facilities, I believe it was over in Mount Pleasant, that were having to close homes and move people because of lack of employees. Well, we're still seeing those kind of effects impacting the tourism industry on the workforce side, and because of that, limitations that they're having to make in a number of ways, such as changing or limiting their hours, the amount of their service, that sort of thing. So in looking over the rules and language in the ARPA, supporting the recovery of the tourism sector is an allowable use of the funds, and we would like to just have a conversation about what that might look like. Submitted a letter to you back in July. I think you have it in your packet. So we have two, yeah, make sure you've got that.
Sarah, can you get a copy of that or somebody?
You sure can.
Well, I've got one. If you just get one copy, then we're good.
So we're waiting for a copy of that. What we're looking at is workforce and recovery. So on the workforce side, many of our hospitality-related businesses are still really struggling. I'm talking about venues, I'm talking about restaurants, and I'm talking about hotels. They are really struggling to find workers. It is scary to talk to some of these individuals and hear just how understaffed they are, how many open positions they have. One of the untapped resources for those organizations, those businesses, can be youth. Many of the positions that could help them out can be filled by 16, 17, 18-year-old folks. They don't have to be individuals with high skill. So one of the things that we are proposing is a pilot project focused on the tourism industry, and we're calling it a high school talent recruiter. What we're proposing to do is to create teams of two, one in Burlington, one in West Burlington High School, 2 students in each school district, that we would train and equip to become high school recruiters. That they, who are embedded in those schools and know the kids, the other students, would help promote the job opportunities that exist within these tourism and hospitality-based businesses. The students would be paid, these recruiters would be paid for their work, and we would couple it with our workforce programming efforts by offering students who are interested in these open positions opportunities to meet with our 30 under 30 speakers group on our young professionals and work on things like their resumes, their interview skills, first impressions, how to be a good employee. There's an opportunity for this to be a win-win. We know that when young people start working as teenagers, it looks better on applications when they're off to college. For those who are looking for a pathway to go from school right into the workplace, they're learning valuable work skill sets that they can only gain from actually working. And of course, they get the opportunity to earn some pocket money. But it gives them also opportunity to be exposed to the world of work, what they like, what they don't like, who knows, some of them may be able to find an interesting new career or profession. So the idea would be to use some of these funds to create this teen talent recruiter program and fill some of these really critical jobs that are in high need in our hospitality and tourism-based businesses. So that is part of our proposal. The other one is a grant funding program. So there are a number of entities, specifically theater and performing arts kind of venues, sports facilities, and other indoor attractions that have never recovered from what we've been through the last year and a half. And with fall and winter coming, we're not gonna be able to be outdoors as much. We don't know what this variant and what things are gonna be looking like over the next 3, 6, 9 months. There's still a lot of anxiety and fear within that sector about how to weather what we're still walking through, because the pandemic isn't over, we're still in the middle of it, it's just different now. And so there's still some concern there, and some of these establishments are coming into this and they're still behind the 8 ball because they never financially recovered from what they've already gone through. So we would propose some funds that we would manage as a grant program to help specific businesses that would have to apply, all the documentation would be there, that they would demonstrate great financial need or hardship because of limited attendance, maybe having to still limit the number of people they sell tickets to for a certain event. But we do know that places like the Capitol Theater and the Turf and other indoor facilities have just not seen their numbers bounce back. And so those are our 2 proposals, is a grant funding program to help prop up and get some of these tourism, hospitality, venue places and related businesses, so they're still with us in another year as we continue to come out of this, and that we work on a high school talent recruitment pilot project, see if we can fill some of these jobs in the hospitality sector where there's just so much need and demand. I see Chris has joined us. Chris Lee wears a couple of hats. I know you all know him in his conservation role, but he is also the chair of the CVB steering committee and may have a couple of other thoughts on this if you'd like, or if you want to hear from him.
If you've got anything to say, feel free.
Yeah, I mean, I just, being part of the steering committee and leading that over the last year and a half or so, you know, we've really seen those numbers. You know, if you get the tourism report that comes out monthly, and just what those numbers have been and how bad these facilities have been hit, it's definitely been a heck of an impact. And so, yeah, I think, you know, doing something in that arena would certainly benefit, because they are, I mean, that's just one of those industries there that just, I mean, took a direct hit, you know. I mean, it wasn't mandated that it was shut down, but it was as close as you could get, you know. I mean, sure, the governor saying hotels are shut, or, you know, and honestly, some venues were told they had to shut down. You weren't gonna have concerts, you weren't going to have these events, and so, you know, that was as direct an impact as you could possibly get.
Did it go down and level off, or is it still falling, or is it bouncing a little bit, or?
It took a nosedive.
Yeah.
It leveled off. It's come up just a little bit, but we are way off of what we consider normal numbers. The other projection that we've seen both nationally and statewide is that it will take the tourism industry 2 to 3 years to recover, and that assumes that these variants and vaccines and all of that issue gets resolved, that the vaccine rates continue to go up, and natural immunity and all of that, and that we don't have other variants that show up that create other problems for us. We're not through this thing yet, as you just heard. We have a 16% positivity rate here, and all of that affects travel and a lot of businesses. So when you think about tourism, there's kind of 2 buckets. There's leisure travel. Our daughter got married this last weekend, so we were traveling in order to be at her outdoor socially distanced wedding. You're still being careful.
Congrats, bud.
Thank you, it was fantastic. But there's also the business travel, and business travel has almost disappeared. There are a lot of companies that have just said, no, you're not getting on an airplane, you're not traveling to other states, set up another Zoom meeting. And until some of those things come back, we're seeing some uptick in sports tourism, but again, not to the numbers that were. or were projected or that need to be. And it's gonna take years for this recovery to happen. I know it has been well reported and is well thought out that the county is looking at using a significant amount of ARPA money for a new health human services facility. I applaud you for that. There's a lot of reasons why that needs to happen, and we're all aware of that. But the amount of money that we are requesting for your consideration out of the pool that you have is really a small fraction, and in the big picture would not affect the ability for the county to still pursue that other big need and big idea. So we're hopeful that you will look upon this with a positive light. We're requesting a total of $300,000, $250,000 for the grant program, and $50,000 for the talent recruitment pilot project, to see if we can try to fill some of these jobs that have just been so difficult on our hospitality and tourism sector to get filled.
Hey, on the 50,000 for the high school talent recruitment, I think that's a phenomenal idea. And I'm glad to see you behind it, you're a worker. Hey, on the grant funding now, so is this for lost wages? I mean, is this for hiring? Is this for, not lost wages, but lost revenue? So how does that work? Is that pretty much all of that? Somebody can apply for it.
We would develop, we've not put the time or effort behind it, frankly, because if we can't get the funding, but that would be the next phase, and it could be contingent on final approval, if you like. But we want any applicant to have to be able to demonstrate financial need, but it would be operational dollars and, yes, potentially staffing dollars. These organizations have had to tighten their budgets and eliminate marketing, or eliminate training, or eliminate putting off improvements, who knows what, to just kind of make the bottom line work.
Yeah.
Just like with your personal budget, if all of a sudden, if you're living on a $90,000 a year income, and all of a sudden you have to live on a $50,000 a year income, you got 40 grand there that you gotta figure out, where am I gonna cut, where am I gonna tighten my belt? Some of that causes real operational pain that affects jobs. So we can work with the county on what are the parameters that you would feel comfortable with. We just know that some of our hospitality related, particularly our venue and attractions, are still struggling to remain viable. We wanna make sure that they're still here a year and 2 and 3 down the road. Chris, I don't know if you wanna add anything to that?
I mean, the big thing to keep in mind is like she said, we've got a long road ahead of us. And, we're looking at the long game here, in that travel and events and things like that, that's easy to just choose not to do. So even if we get past all this pandemic stuff and all the vaccines work, and the whole illness side of it, and that whole scare factor goes away, there's gonna be a lag time before people say, I'm comfortable going and doing this. And there's gonna be that lag time, from just a dollars perspective, that they're willing to spend that kind of money to, book travel to, come to Burlington to go to the Capitol Theater, or, to get back into traveling sports teams to where they come to and they play at the turf and things like that. So even if we were to just solve this pandemic tomorrow and, say, hey, we're okay, there's going to be that lag time before people are comfortable getting back to some sort of new normal. And so there's going to be a bit of a lag time with these businesses, that these entities are going to have to still struggle through. And I think, that's what the partnership's really trying to do here, is help smooth that road out a little bit to keep them viable until we can get to whatever that new normal looks like. And I don't know what that is, but.
You were quick, go ahead.
I was gonna say, you said you're gonna recruit from Burlington and West Burlington
Throughout Des Moines
schools?
County.
Okay, are you anticipating anybody from Mediapolis School? Danville, cool.
So again, that's why we're calling this a pilot. We want to start for a semester with a couple school districts and build it out, figure out what works, train. But yes, the vision is if it works and we see good outcome from it, I would love to be able to expand it to all the schools in Des Moines County, public and private, and expand beyond the hospitality and tourism industry. So we actually do have a grant request that I put in front of the workforce board here out of the Iowa Workforce Center here, and they popped it up to the state, so we're waiting to hear from that. But I've heard from a number of manufacturers that they have some jobs that they can hire 16 to 18-year-olds for, and they're very intrigued with this idea as well. So in a sense, this pilot project on the high school talent recruitment would begin with a focus on the hospitality and tourism industry, because that's where the biggest pain point is right now. But if it works as well as we think it has the potential to, the idea would be to expand it to all schools and have some teen talent recruiters in all of them, and expand it across more industries. It would be great if it became just a long-standing activity, partnership between the Greater Burlington Partnership and local schools. But I have to be able to demonstrate that it will work and that it's worth the investment and find long-term funding. All we're asking for is a small amount to run a pilot project and see how it might work.
I just want to say real quick that for somebody that's reporting this, that this isn't a stretch or a reach, that this request fits within our guidelines, so it's not like you're asking for something that nobody else is. I just wanted to make that clear, Leah.
We're working on it.
I can write the article.
You're putting the notes when you roll his eyes at me.
Try to get nicer.
Insert eye roll.
I'm certainly willing to consider this. I think those are great things. We're working on it, getting money that's gonna be allocated here and there, so you will certainly be under, with these requests, be certainly be under consideration. Sort of off the subject, I'm gonna drop a book off a Greater Burlington Partnership. Seriously, I read a novel last time I went on a plane ride. It's written by, he's a Harvard MBA, so it's a crime novel. Anyway, but he throws in business school. One of the part of the center of it is an idea. They hire a couple kids in each high school to influence opinion and do that. Anyway, it's got some interesting, you might, it's not a hard read, you won't waste a lot of time on it, but you might enjoy that. I'll drop that
I've heard
off.
of that, Tom. I happen to be an avid book reader, and so I'm always excited to get another book to dig into, so.
Well, anyway, but the idea sounds similar, so,
Well, and this idea was birthed out of visits with businesses, and I actually heard a couple of different times from area employers, their efforts to hire and recruit teenagers. And I walked out specifically Bob Huffman Home and Farm and Home. And I walked out of his office because, and as I was driving back to my office is where this really started percolating, because he made a comment to me about, I've tried this and this and this and this, and the thing is, Dallo, I'm not a high school student, I'm not in the high school, I don't speak their language and I don't have their connection. And as I drove away, I just kept thinking, well, that's right, and who does? We also had an opportunity this last summer to bring in an intern at the Greater Burlington Partnership, and we had a young woman from the Burlington School District reach out and ask about an internship. At the time that she sent us the email, she was 15 years of age. And she turned 16 right at the end of the school year. And so we rolled the dice. We've never brought in a high school student before. We've always had college level interns, but we decided to give her a shot. And she did a phenomenal job all summer long. This 16-year-old young woman who handled herself extremely, extremely well. Most people who interacted with her would have had no idea that she was a high school student. They would have assumed she was a SEC or Iowa Wesleyan student. But there were a couple times during the summer through our Main Street program that we were running short of volunteers. And this young woman said, oh, well, I know some friends who need silver cord hours, and she'd get on her phone and do whatever she did, and bam, all of a sudden, we'd have a slew of volunteers. So her ability to make connections for us just over the summer, that piece, and the comments of local businesses where I got the idea of, well, what if we could actually train and equip students and work with the schools to actually create some little display, create some sort of hours so that other students know they're gonna be there from this time to this time before school and lunch wave, couple it with some training and equipping through our workforce development program, and actually try to fill some of these in-demand jobs in hospitality. So we're excited by the concept and the idea. We're just looking for a little bit of money to be able to make it a reality, because just like every other organization, we got hit very, very hard financially by the pandemic and the shutdown, and until recently didn't even qualify for PPP dollars, that we were excluded in the first several rounds. So we're coming at this the same way, and we just don't have a lot of extra laying around. So even that 50,000 for the talent, teen talent recruiter would be a huge boost for us to try to help businesses in a unique way. So thank you for your consideration.
Thank you for bringing this to us and coming.
Yeah. Well, the need is great, and the need is now, so I hope that it won't be too long before you're able to make some determinations and decisions of what you can or cannot do.
I like everything you said, I gotta be honest, but I still think if we're gonna do this, the pilot program, we ought to include the other two schools.
Jim, I would be happy to do that if you take this under consideration and would like to give me more money. I'm just being very candid, I can only hire, I've got a budget I can show you behind this. But I would love to be able to do that, and if we wanna revisit about this program and the money we're asking and funnel a little bit more one way instead of the other so that we can do that across the board, I'd be more than happy to have that conversation.
Okay, thank you.
For me, it's just all about resources.
We do have to sit down and have a work session on some of these requests too, before we make any decision.
We do. We have to get some sort of a handle on what a public health facility is gonna cost. And, thank you. Nice presentation. You answered all my questions during your presentation. So, thank you.
Maybe worth noting too, on the agenda today, I have a personnel action. So that kid that I'm hiring as a part-time technician now, he started as a high school kid, as an internship. So we've been recruiting out of the high schools for a long time now, both through our education programs. So when we have kids come through our summer camps, the ones that keep coming back, that we see have an interest in that, we try to get our hands on them and have them come back as camp leaders later on. So when they get to like the high school age, we bring them back as volunteer camp leaders. And then on our field side, we've been working very closely with Burlington High School and West Burlington. Haven't been able to get anything going out of the other schools yet, but I'm certainly open to those. If they have programs with, at least the two Burlington schools have established internship programs where kids come out for school credit and they work with us whatever 1 or 2 or 3 class periods they've had. This kid started out 4.5 years ago, 4 years ago now, as a high school intern. And it gives us an ability, one, to kind of see what they're like as a worker. So it's, it's a bit of an interview process, doesn't cost us anything. And then if they're good, we invite them back to come as a summer intern. Then he's kept coming back as a summer intern.
Is this a kid I got the phone call about?
Yes. And then now we've got the same exact situation with his younger brother. We picked him up as a high school intern, and brought him on as a summer intern. I think he's coming back next summer as well. And then at our nature center, the last 2 years, we've had high school interns coming out of there as well. And one of those may turn into our future summer intern for us. And so it's been a really great recruitment tool for us. We kind of screen them, at no cost to us, and then bring them on and bring them up through the ranks the best we can. If that were to work half as good as what ours has, that'd be one hell of an awesome program.
Just phone call I got was 110% complimentary so we'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Way to find some really good talent out there.
Thank you. Thank you again, Bill. Okay, we have a resolution, the final plat for the Anderson-Kaler subdivision.
Alright, so this is a minor subdivision, 2 lots in Danville Township, right at the corner of Highway 79 and Jimtown Road. Basically what we have right now is a small residential lot along Jimtown, and then behind that you've got a irregularly shaped 11-acre lot, which has a storage business with a couple of buildings right on the corner at the intersection, and then it wraps around the back of a farm field. So this subdivision is being proposed to, for 2 reasons. Number one, it will split off the storage business, the front part of the property, as a standalone lot, and then also to kind of correct for the way that the residential lot was originally surveyed. The home is currently placed right near the back of that lot, so it's going to add a little bit of depth to that, and also swap a little bit at the south end with the lot 1 with the business on it. And then as a result, this will leave the remainder of that 11-acre lot will be landlocked. However, a 66-foot access easement is being provided on the plat to go through lot 1 to access that. It's basically uses the existing access for the business off of 79. And then the long-term plan there is that most likely there'll be a home built there for a family member of the subdivider. So in terms of the review process for this subdivision, we didn't receive any significant comments. Seems like a pretty straightforward thing, not really anything changing with regards to the 2 platted lots, at least no major land use changes. It is within the Danville 2-mile review area, so that one went before the council last week, and they voted to waive the full review, which is allowed through the state code. So we have that taken care of. So with that in mind, I think everything's squared away. So we would recommend approval of Anderson-Kaler subdivision.
I move to approve.
Second.
Sarah?
Shane McCampbell,
Yep.
Jim Carrey,
Yeah.
Tom Broker.
Yes. We'll get that signed for you after.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jared. And we have personnel actions. We have one for the Treasurer's Department. Ashley Sherwood, Clerk 2 in the Motor Vehicle Department, a partial day, 1.66 hours without pay.
Move to approve.
Second.
Sarah?
Jim Carrey,
Yeah.
Shane McCampbell,
Yes.
Tom Broker.
Yes. We have 2 personnel actions for the jail. We have Russell Egan, a part-time clerk, discharge, and Brenda Schnedler, a part-time correctional officer, discharge.
Move to approve both of them.
Second.
Sarah?
Jim Carrey,
Yeah.
Shane McCampbell,
Yep.
Tom Broker.
Yes. One personnel action for the recorder's office, Renee Wellborn, Clerk 2, September 3rd, 7.5 hours unpaid.
Move to approve.
Second.
Sarah?
Shane McCampbell,
Yes.
Jim Carrey,
Yeah.
Tom Broker.
Yes. And we have the personnel action for the conservation. Tanner Gebhardt, part-time conservation technician, new hire, rate of $15 an hour.
Move to approve.
Second.
Sarah?
Shane McCampbell,
Yes.
Jim Carrey,
Yeah.
Tom Broker.
Yes. We have reports. We have the sheriff's monthly report for August 2021. This report will be on file at the auditor's office and available for public review.
They spent $4,380.28 on R&B, so. I love that, man. Every time I see that, it just cracks me up. I've got issues.
We have minutes for the regular meeting of September 7th, 2021.
Second.
Sarah?
Jim Carrey,
Yeah.
Shane McCampbell,
Yes.
Tom Broker.
Yes. Other business,
I have none.
future agenda items.
Terry will be in Friday to post the floodplain ordinances for
Okay.
the public hearings.
And did Bob Bartles speak to you about having a work session next week with, I believe, Della and
Okay.
Mike Norris and Bob and maybe Chadford from the city, anyway,
Okay.
regarding housing allocation for the American Rescue Plan.
Okay, I will put that down.
I spoke to him, he might have spoken to Cheryl, but anyway, we need that on next week.
Okay.
Committee reports.
Job work fair, September 30th, Heartland Harley Davidson from 2 to 5. The last one was fantastic. Even though we kind of got some bad rain, it really turned into a great event out to the mall. I think Leah was out there.
I was out there, I didn't see you out there.
I know, I saw you and then I slid past. But anyways.
What happened to my gavel?
Behind you, with behind
That's
you.
right. You've been banging gavels ever since I got you. I never seen it move when Bob was here. I never saw it move. And then 8th Judicial District, they're gonna be doing some hiring here coming up, and I didn't bring my paper, and I'll bring that back, but I may even have them come in, but it's a great job that doesn't require superhuman strength of skills. You just have to be mentally adequate and able to work. But those are positions, I think the minimum position starting off was, there are several positions that they're looking for, was like $42,000. You can do something with that. Heck, that's more than the supervisors make. Oh! So look, get a job, and if there's somebody that needs a job, please go out to the last job fair was awesome, this one's gonna be just as good. Go out to that one, it is September 30th at Heartland Harley Davidson from 2 to 5. Get a job. That's all.
That needs to be on the radio, that's good advertising.
You know, they need a better voice to do it, but the message is good. That's it.
Thanks, Shane.
I had a Rush Utility Board meeting, talking about hiring. We've interviewed a couple of people and we got a job offer out there to one of them for a sanitarian. So we're gonna have that filled. So we'll have 4 on board again in Bristol, so if we need anything here. And then I had a Southeast Iowa juvenile detention. And so far this month, or this year, July and August, we've had 97 days at $160 a day we've paid for juvenile detention. I'd rather see these juveniles get into your program as into their program. But, and also, they brought to us that their 28-day agreement with the counties, they are also wanting some of our American Rescue Act from each of the 7 counties. So,
Who does? The
the
juvenile detention or?
juvenile detention, yeah. So, they're working on that, and some of the counties are on board with it, and some of them aren't. But is what we can't find out, we can't get a good answer from the state feds where, being a 2080 agreement, where 7 counties own it. So,
Yeah,
so it's kind of, it's in a gray area is what it is. My thinking on it, I probably shouldn't say this, but my thinking is that if it's not self-supporting, it shouldn't be there.
well, I think we budget $250,000 or $300,000 a year for juvenile detention.
That's right. And we've spent well over 300,000 about every year now. Matter of fact, we're leading with this. Wapello County always has been, had more juveniles there than most of them, but, right at this point, Wapello County does not have, they've only about 60 of them. We're at 97, and Polk County is starting to use us too, because what Della said, they can't get the help. So Polk County's starting to help us now.
I think Polk County's been doing without help for a while. I know they send regular prisoners as far as Missouri, don't they, Brett?
Probably, yeah.
It's cheaper for them to send them out of city or out of county than to keep them themselves.
And we charge them $200 a day. That's all I had. I just want to let you know about that they're looking for some of that American Rescue Act.
Thanks, Jim. I attended the Southeast Iowa Mental Health and Disability Services Governance Board meeting, and we approved claims, received some OSHA training, or not OSHA, HIPAA training. We approved an updated organizational table and new management team job descriptions to align with the new mental health and disability services legislation that went into effect July 1st. Then I attended that 911 ceremony that the Verona Fire Department does. They do a great job with that. That's all I had. Public input. If anybody from the public would like to address the board, you may email the Board of Supervisors at board@dmcounty.com. That's BOARD@dmcounty.com. You may call 319-753-8203, extension 4. That's 319-753-8203, extension 4. We'll give you a couple minutes to initiate that email or phone call. In the meantime, is anybody in attendance have any comments for the board? Yeah.
I have one on a different note, so this seems like a good time to do this. We are working with our regional partners and the other counties in southeast Iowa and with the Southeast Iowa Regional Medical Center, formerly known as Great River Health. So we are working together to bring a virtual program, probably the first week of October is what we're trying to get the date narrowed down to, in the first 10 days of October. To provide training and information to business owners regarding COVID vaccines and what you can or cannot ask or do from an employer's perspective. We have a lot of employers that are trying to figure out, what can I ask my employees, what can I require of my employees, what does the law say, and how do I navigate all that? So we are not getting into any of the politics. We are not getting into any of the area of advocating one perspective or another, but we are coming together as a region. The hospital has identified an attorney who has a great deal of experience in this arena, somebody that they've worked with off and on over the years. So it is a regional collaboration, and we invite public and private sector employers to watch for that and to plan on participating. We are going to record it so that it'll be available in a type of video library for those who miss it and want to watch it later.
Would be an email or be?
Yes, there will be more information coming from all the regional partners. basically the footprint of Southeast Iowa Regional Medical Center footprint, so all the places they have campuses and have a reach, will be where we're concentrating. We'll be using social media and direct media to get the word out, but this is a good place to start. We just had that meeting yesterday and all came to consensus that we want to work together on it and just kind of working through the date and the final details before we start pushing that out. But it's timely and it's needed, and maybe by then they'll figure out where things are at, you know, with the Biden announcement now of wanting to do something through OSHA to require employers of 100 or more to mandate or require. We're trying to figure out what does that mean for local employers. So we're hoping that by early October, there'll be some clarity around whether that directive is going to stand or not, and what that means for other employers. So that, among other things, will be covered.
Thank you. Maury?
Chris wasn't here for the first part, I wondered if he had anything to add.
Oh, I forgot, you,
Yeah, sorry, I snuck in late.
Chris Lee, Conservation.
Thanks.
Thanks, George.
Chamber building at another training session right there. No, we just had a meeting last night about our big Halloween event, our Halloween event we have in the campground, second weekend in October, just trying to work out logistics on that. So that one's bearing down on us. That seems to be our biggest weekend of the year now in the campground. Otherwise, camping numbers have slowed significantly. We had, I think, 8 sites available for Hollow this last weekend, which is the most we've had in a long time. So things are kind of slowing down, which is kind of nice. It gives the field team a little bit of time to be out there and get some of that maintenance stuff done. It takes a little bit extra time, so. But that's just what we got.
Thanks, Chris. Anybody else? Okay. We have a closed session to discuss pending litigation in accordance with Iowa Code Section 21.5, paragraph C. I need a motion to go into a closed session.
Move we go into closed session.
Second. Sarah?
Jim Carrey,
Yes.
Shane Campbell,
Yep.
Tom Broker.
Yes.
Are you guys going in there, or are you kicking us out?
We're going in there, and
He's gone.
That's true, that's true. Well, you didn't have to say that out loud. That is your problem and not ours.
We haven't had
Oh, I want-
conversations like this
Hey, Shane, we still love you.
Bless us, everyone.
It's really digress.
It really has, it's gone downhill.
I'm good.
No, you're not.
I know. Thanks for recognizing James.
Calm down.
Nick, thanks for coming down.
Thank
Yeah, not a problem.
Be patient.
Yeah, just let us know what you need from me and I'll,
Oh, okay, somebody will get in touch with you. Be gentle with it, that property, be careful with it.
it'll get beat up there.
It is well loved.
Nick, you already have a plat done of what you need? You already have a
Yeah, I have an
survey plat
acquisition
done,
plat.
and legal description, all
Yep.
that sort of stuff? You're 3/4 of the way home.
When's Gordon get back, Nick? This,
Back, Iowa League of Cities is tomorrow, so he's going to Coral.
Actually, this might work out well, you can take it off your 5-year program, I believe we were gonna gravel that area next year.
Yes, I think so. Yes, that was on the plan, but I'll say it was a lot of gravel.
you've made me see happy with this. So,
Brings up a lot.
all right.
Okay, no further comments for adjournment. Y'all have a great day.
You too.
You do.
So Tom, tell me, did you practice that speech from here?
No, well, I knew I wanted to say something, I didn't really know what to say until I started.
Oh, that was